Hi, I'm Lynette and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you a tutorial on this look right here, along with swatches of the new Extra Spicy palette from Give Me Glow Cosmetics. Now, if you'd like to hear my thoughts on this palette after using it for the first time today, then stick around after the tutorial and I will share them with you. Now, Give Me Glow recently launched their new website, so they upgraded their website. Praise the Lord and thank you, Jesus, because that website, their old website, was trash. So they have vastly improved it. Is it perfect? No, but is it a much better, more improved experience than the last one? Absolutely. I was so excited that they were changing the website. I went on ahead and I purchased some new palettes. And one of them was the Extra Spicy palette. This is their new palette and she is beautiful. She comes with a mirror. She's a 9-pan palette with big, huge pans, which is to be expected from Give Me Glow. This palette is vegan and cruelty-free, and it retails for $41. It does have a mirror. And well, let me show you the packaging. This is the packaging. It's got all these chili peppers on it. And then this is the back. And the box that it comes in is exactly the same. And this palette is really beautiful. Now, it's called an eyeshadow pressed pigment palette, which doesn't surprise me because the reds in these in this palette, ooh baby. So I can imagine that when I take off my makeup that my lids will be stained. So I would suggest that you use some kind of base to place these shadows on and not put them directly onto your skin. And it doesn't say that they're not eye safe, but I don't know, maybe because they're vegan. It doesn't say so on the palette. This color story is really beautiful. You get 6 mattes and 3 shimmer metallic shades. And the mattes are super pigmented. These red shades are, oh my God. Oh my God, so smooth, so buttery. I mean, they feel a little dry in the pan, but when I swatch them, they go on so smoothly, so easily. No skipping, no patchiness, just pure pigment, pure beauty. And then you have the metallic shimmer shades that look like they have a little bit, that 24 wings, that coppery one right here, looks like it has maybe a little like glitter in it, but they don't look like, once you apply them or in the swatches, they don't look like glitter or anything, but they're just so metallic that, I mean, wow. So you got some oranges here, you've got your yellows, and then you've got these chili pepper reds, which are absolutely stunning. So I did use this palette for the first time today. I will show you the tutorial, and then afterwards I will come back and let you know my thoughts on this palette, because I have a few. I hope to see you at the end. If you'd like to see how I created this look today using the Extra Spicy palette from Give Me Glow Cosmetics, then keep on watching. I'm starting out like I usually do these days with the P.Louise eye base in the shade Rumour 5, and I'm going to blend that all over the eye from the brow bone down to the lash line with my Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. Now I'm taking Habanero and a small shader brush, and I'm going to start packing that into the inner corner. I actually started this look off with the ABH primer and didn't like how that was applying, so I went in with my P.Louise, and as you can see, where it looks like it's turning a little orange in places on the fringes. And that, I think, is where the base wasn't completely dry, so the eyeshadow turned a little darker. And then you'll see there, as I start applying it. It's a bright yellow, and then it will eventually tone down. It's not going to stay that yellow, but as you can see, the fringes of the color look a little darker, look a little more orangey, look a little warmer, and I think that's because that base was not completely dry. So just something to be aware of when you're working with eyeshadow bases and your eyeshadows. Now I'm going into Flaming Hot, and I'm going to place that on the middle of the crease. So I'm starting off with the yellow on the inner quarter of the crease, and now in the middle I'm placing this Flaming Hot. And this, it started off orangey, and then as I blended, it looked like it turned a little more red. Then orange is definitely an orangey red shade, but I don't know what I was hoping for. But as you can see, it's pigmented, it's vibrant. And then I'm going to try to blend that yellow and this hot orangey red shade together. And that took a lot of effort. I don't know why it didn't seem to take as much effort on my other eye, but on this eye, it seemed to take a lot of effort to get these two shadows to blend together. And I think the contrast between these shadows also has something to do with it. When you're working with two eyeshadows that have such a big contrast between the two, I have found in my limited experience, it can be a little more difficult to blend those two. But yeah, this look took a lot of just blending, as do most of my looks. But when I'm working with all matte shadows and when they're as pigmented and vibrant as these, I find that it just takes a lot more blending to try to get all the shadows to blend seamlessly together. Now I'm taking Can We Get More Salsa? And that's a really red, it's a much more red shade. And I'm placing that on the outer V area and that outer corner. And this shade to be so pigmented, this shadow to be so pigmented and so dark and so bright and so bold, it blended out so easily, which was really nice. But as you can see, when it's placed up next to that Flaming Hot, you can see that you don't see a huge difference between this eyeshadow here and the one I just placed on the outer V. Now you can see a little more of the oranginess of this shadow coming through. But yeah, when you blend it into and next to that Can We Get More Salsa shade, you don't see a big difference between the two. And that's to be expected, as I said, when you're working with shadows that are this similar in color and in hue to one another, they can tend to look like one eyeshadow. Going back with the yellow, and I did this a lot, just you'll see going back in and re-intensifying these eyeshadows after I've blended them out and blended them into other shadows. Now I'm taking On Fire, and I'm going to place that on the lid. This is a metallic shimmer shade, and I start off using it dry. And I mean, as you can see, it's working dry, but I wanted a little more pop, a little more contrast, a little more bada bing. So I went on ahead and I wet the eyeshadow. And wetting the brush, as you know, just gives this metallic shade a lot more punch. And I prefer using my metallic shades wet. Now I'm going to go back into the palette and I'm going to use Ghost Pepper. And yeah, look at that. I use this wet as well. I dampened my brush and talk about bada bing. This shadow was just, oh my gosh, gorgeous. So bright, so metallic, so shimmery, just beautiful. And then back in with the yellow, I'm just going to touch up now these shades that I have in the crease. And that Ghost Pepper, did you see how easily it blended into that first shade I put on the lid, just effortlessly. And touching up that middle eyeshadow. Just want to make sure you don't lose, I wanted to make sure I didn't lose any of the intensity once I added those lid shades. And I didn't put too much. You can see I'm really lightly tapping and just blending it into the lid shade because I didn't want it to go too dark with this eyeshadow because it's so pigmented. So I didn't put too much product on there. Now I'm taking Spicy Peach Martini. And I'm going to use that to try to blend out the edges of all of those crease shades. And again, this is another one where you can see just a slight bit of difference between this eyeshadow and those red and red oranges I put into the crease, but not a whole lot. And I finished the rest of my makeup off camera, and I'm going in with Flaming Hot and placing that on the lower lash line. And then I decided I wanted to use that really deep, dark chili pepper eyeshadow shade. So I went in with that one and put that on the outer portion of the lower lash line. And as you can see, you don't see very much difference between this eyeshadow and the one I just used before it. So you're not going to get a whole lot of differentiation with a lot of these red shades because they're so close in hue and color to one another. Now I'm taking 24 karat wings or 24K wings and on a damp brush, and I'm going to place that in the very inner corner of the lower lash line, the inner quarter of the lower lash line, because I decided I just wanted to use more shades, more of these shadows. And then I wet the brush. Oh, I thought I went in with it wet first, but I didn't. So that was dry, and it looked pretty good dry. Then I went in with it wet and just wanted to amp it up just a bit. And this is a really pretty shimmer shade too. It's like this golden bronze with red in it. It's really, really nice. And now I'm taking my Colourpop Creme Gel Liner in the color Punch. And it didn't give me too much punch on my waterline. And I think that's because I had a lot of those red eyeshadows on my waterline already. And I probably should have gone in there with a Q-tip and tried to wipe away that eyeshadow. And as you can see, as I'm trying to layer it, it's kind of picking up the liner. And so, yeah, some of these gel liners from Colourpop are kind of hit and miss. But yeah, it turned out pretty muted in the waterline. And now I'm going back in with Ghost Pepper and placing that in the inner corner as my inner corner highlight. This is the completed look. I used my Kiss lashes in the style Little Black Dress and my Inglot number 77 gel eyeliner. As you saw, all of the shadows in this palette that I used, and I used all of them. I used all of them except Mild, the really light peachy matte shade here, but I used everything else, and which is what I expected with this palette. This when you have shades that are very similar, like in tone, like these two colors right here, Can We Get More Salsa and Chili Pepper, these two gorgeous reds. This one has a little more orange in it, and this one is like straight up red. But in the swatches you saw they were similar, and in the pan they look similar. And so when you have shades this similar, you run the risk of them looking, once you put them on the eye and you blend them out, of them looking the same. Which is kind of what happened with this look. I can see a little, and it happened with the flaming hot, the orange here. It looks very orange in the pan, but once I started to blend it out, to me it looked a little more red. Still had a little orange in it. It was bright when you first applied it, and then it kind of darkened up once you started blending it out. And then I paired it with this Can We Get More Salsa, this beautiful, gorgeous red orange, but more red than orange. And once I blended the two together, you kind of lost the oranginess of this shade. So they kind of all blended in and sort of look the same color, in my opinion. And yeah, so you run that risk. The habanero, the yellow in the palette, you know, I mean, it's okay. I did use, when I first started this look, I started off with the ABH eyeshadow primer, and then I took it off because I really don't like that primer. But that primer is white, and it did show up a little brighter on top of a white base. But I used my P.Louise, which is flesh toned shade for me, and it kind of really died down once you start blending it out. It really did die down. I can still see it, but is it as vibrant as it is here in the pan? No. So that was a little disappointing, but I'm really coming to expect that, I hate to say, with yellow eyeshadows in general. But the shimmer shades are absolutely stunning. They are beautiful. This shade right here, Ghost Pepper, oh my goodness. I used all of the metallic shades wet, and they really, I mean, they really stand out, as do all of the Give Me Glow metallics that I've used thus far. The shadows, the mattes are super pigmented and easy to blend. That red on the outer corner there, what a breeze, what a delight. I always find Give Me Glow eyeshadows to be easy to work with, so that wasn't surprising, it was expected. So are you going to get a lot of variety or diverse looks with this palette? No, of course not, because the color story of oranges, yellows, and reds are, you know, these shades are kind of similar and they all really go well together. So you're not going to get a lot of diversity in the looks that you create, but I believe whatever you create is going to be beautiful. It's going to be bright, it's going to be bold and beautiful. So am I happy to have added this palette to my collection? Absolutely. Let me know down below, did you go out and get this palette when it launched, or is this a palette you're interested in getting in the future? If you liked this video, then please give it a like and consider subscribing, because I do eyeshadow tutorials, makeup hauls, swatches, and reviews here every Saturday. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, bye-bye.